Well, I know that after going through a rehab process a few times, a couple times, one of the hardest things about being there is that you don't. It seems like an insurmountable task, especially in the beginning, and you always like seeing somebody who comes in and has a bit of a comeback or success story that's come back from being down. And I'm not back by any means, but I'm on my way there. And if I can give some hope, maybe say one thing that helps somebody get through it, it's a really hard time. It's a hard time in a person's life, and if I can help in any regard in that way, I'd love to. You're at a low point. You're at a very low point in your life. Whatever's brought you there is usually not a good thing, and so you're down. And when you go in, there's a stigma that goes along with going to rehab, going to treatment. We can say it however we want it, but it's a long step from being where you are, down and out, in whatever state of addiction you're in, to actually committing and going to rehab. It takes a lot to make that leap. And once they're there, once people are there, it's difficult, it's hard work, it's day in and day out, and it's relearning behaviors, but it's a tough deal.
What got you across that hump to
honestly, all of my good friends from ever, my relatives, and I've got some really great friends. Rick came to see me in rehab. Cal sent wishes through Kenny, Thane. Just when you're at a low point, you don't, you just don't know. And it's great to have, after that, people from my buddy Mark Verge to Danny Ainge to my family and relatives around here, guys I played high school ball. They've really helped get me through the last 2 years. And, you can kind of lose yourself in this life sometimes, and it took me a long time to kind of realize that basketball was just what I did and wasn't who I am. And I still struggle with that. I started being recognized at about age 15, and in some ways I think I had definitely have some arrested development. Still trying to grow up.
One thing that the Healing Place told me was that the face of addiction is not what people think it is. I think there's a stereotype there that doesn't always fit the bill.
I think the biggest misconception is that people have made these choices to go down this addiction path, and I don't subscribe to that. I think that I can think back as long drugs and alcohol were never part of my life growing up, and not through my entire playing career. But looking back now, I was definitely an addict. Basketball, I was addicted to basketball from the time I was little, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night, midnight, sit straight up in my bed in Owensboro at 10 years old, and be worried that someone on the West Coast is 2 hours, 3 hours different there. 9 o'clock there. Somebody is out working me right now. And it used to eat at me. If I liked Jolly Ranchers, I didn't like one or two, I liked 20 of them. So, that behavior's always been there, and something was going to have to happen for me to finally address all of it.
Well, one thing that Lacey said was that you can kind of serve as a role model in this position, in the sense of there's something beyond the addiction. You know what I mean? That there's a life that can be attained beyond that.
And I can tell you, one of the first things that I thought of once I had some time to think in rehab, once I had detoxed, was that I didn't want this to be my story. That was hard for me to wrap my head around, that it's no longer Mr. Basketball in Kentucky, and it's this whole other thing that I never saw coming. I think other people did. I know other people did, but you can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. And when you've numbed yourself with whatever, alcohol, pills, whatever kind of drugs, you start taking steps backwards. And it's good to be on a forward path. But that's what I'd like to express mostly to patients and people who are supporting places like the Healing Place. It's great work, and a lot of times it's thankless work. And all these facilities, from the Brook to the Healing Place here in Kentucky, the ones that I've been associated with in any capacity, are fantastic.
Was there any? Did Cal kind of go to bat for you as far as this job goes? I wondered if there was resistance, because I've heard a little bit from people. Yeah, a little bit.
Well,
not a lot.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, everybody's entitled to that. Look, Diddy, I think he signs off on about everything around here. So